Hi friends, my name is Jeremy, and on this channel I talk about color and light. And today I want to talk about sloppy sketches, pre-production. What does it mean to be a concept artist? And I think a lot of people think it means very refined artwork, but a lot of the times it's not actually that refined. It's actually quite sloppy and messy as you're really being iterative and you're trying to come up with ideas. Okay, so even on films that have a really high production quality value in the end, this was from the Blue Umbrella short that I worked on when I was at Pixar, often the concept art is really, really loose. And this is okay. This is actually part of the process. In fact, storyboarding is usually just really loose sketches. So I'm gonna leave you with a question at the beginning of this video. How many storyboards like this type of drawing that just looks really loose, are made for a single film? Approximately for one of their features. So keep that question, we'll answer that at the end. When I was a freelancer, I worked on a lot of small projects. I was paid to do some large illustrations for different big known brands, and I'm going to talk through the concept process for each of these. So the first one was with Subway sandwich food chain and the movie Land of the Lost when this was coming out. So this was a long time ago. An advertising agency came to me and said, we want you to make an illustration that we will use for an online card game. And we'll do all the technical work and we want you to do all of the art. We need a desert area, we need a jungle area, we need a mountain area, we need a cave area, and we need all of these elements in this. They gave me a 40-page document that was like this door and this boat and this airplane and these mushrooms and this element and that element and all of these different things that needed to be in it. And we want this really high resolution image from today. It needs to be done in 3 weeks. Okay, go. So I didn't have time to spend 3 days doing a painting. So this is where it's really key to learn how to draw fast. So this was my first sketch. It's sloppy, it's messy, but it gets the idea for them. Just, okay, give me an hour and I'm gonna go sketch some ideas and go, here's your jungle area, here's your desert area, here's your cave area, here's your mountain area, and here's where each of those elements might be. As fast as I can, get it back to the client and go, do you like it? And they're like, well, yeah, this is getting there. Why don't we move the path like this? I do a sketch live with them. No, maybe up on the mountain a little more. Okay, we're getting there, but this is concept art. It is the concept for what it's going to be. So I didn't worry about refining this and making it pretty because that'll come later. We got to work through the practicals as quickly as possible. So then I went back and I refined it a little bit more as to what things would be so they can get a better picture. This is a little too loose for them to show to the executives. So, kind of take it to the next level, and there'll be a river here, and here's where everything is going to be planned out for the game. They like this, refine it some more. And then I keep adding more and more details to show where certain things will be and all the gameplay elements of this as an online game. The logo's a little too small in here. Can we make that bigger? Okay, uncrop the image. No, we think we need a little bit more space on top and bottom. How about a little on the sides? Okay, we like this. This is working pretty good. It was only at this point that we said, okay, there's my concept design. Then I took it into 3D. And then I just kind of refined that using that concept design as my base until I got to the final illustration that was delivered. I had another client who came to me, and this was a company in Australia that was doing architectural materials, and they wanted to be able to show all the different things they could do in a single high-end illustration. And they wanted glass buildings and, concrete buildings and wooden buildings and different styles. And they're like, we need all of these different houses, these particular ones, in the illustration. And we also need all of these elements of landscape. And we want these mountains, and we want, this truck, and we want these type of trees, and we want animals, and we want so many different things. 2 weeks to do the entire project. How am I going to get this done? So they want an aerial map looking down 3/4 view of an island with all of these things on it. So I thought, all right, it's Australia. I'll make it the shape of Australia and put all the islands around. And again, very, very quick sketch to get the idea, because when I showed this to them, they're like, that's a little cliche making it Australia. Can you make it not look like Australia? We don't like that idea. And the buildings are all too small. We're focusing too much on the island. We need to see them better. So then I did this really, really fast. Iterative is the idea here, to get it to the client as quickly as possible. Like, trust me, it's going to look fine in the end, but for this, it needs to be really fast. And they're like, we like this, but can you move this over here? These mountains are too tall. We want them to look like a very particular type of mountain peaks. And okay, where's this? Where's where? And I'm starting broad and working my way down to smaller details and refining more once they kind of come along the way. Like take this to this, and a little bit more breathing room here in the crop, and things can start to see the shapes and the materials and the plan for this and where trees will be and where all the elements will be. And then they would give feedback. We want a boat in there, and we want more refinement. Well, not the boat in the river. We want that out here, and then different type of boat in the river. And we want dolphins over here and a surfer here, and just working back and forth the details until we came to, all right, this is our final concept design. Now start building it in 3D. So instead of working in very expensive, very difficult to change 3D, I'm doing this all with just loose sketches. So all of this was done in the first 2 days. So I could spend the remaining, almost 2 weeks building it in 3D, building out all the models. I rough it in with blockouts with just simple models. And then as I refine those models, put them into place, start texturing them, build it all into pieces, until we get to the final illustration. The third one I want to talk about was a project that was for Safeway, which is a grocery chain in the United States. What they wanted was an ad campaign to sell dairy, cheeses, milk, butter, sour cream, ice cream, and they liked the idea of it being around a picnic, and they wanted vegetables in it. They sent me these images of like, we like this, but we don't know where to go with it. So we want you to explore something with a picnic and dairy and vegetables. So I did a very loose sketch and said, all right, we're at a picnic, and here's some ants that are coming into a picnic, and there's milk and there's cheese and there's trees made of broccoli and the little ant characters. And they're like, ants at a picnic, bad idea, change it to something else. Okay, let's make it kids. Well, now the scale feels weird. That is some really big cheese you're trying to sell there. So let's do something other than kids. Can we make the characters vegetables? I'm like, okay, I worked on a series of animated vegetables. I could do this. Let's make them vegetables. And I'm like, well, this just doesn't show enough. It's too simple. It's too close. So let's make it bigger. And so I thought, all right, it's milk rivers and all of these vegetable characters enjoying themselves outdoors. And there's broccoli trees and there's, little tomatoes. And then they were like, well, wait a minute. These tomatoes are inside of pea pods. Are the pea pods alive? That's like, oh, that's not good. Let's change it up. We need something different. So and I thought, epic, big vista with lots of, there's hot air balloons made of cabbage and waterfalls of milk. And they're like, wait. Okay, the scale is getting all kinds of weird here. You got broccolis that are trees and milk things that are much taller. Let's rewind and go back to the picnic. Let's just make this thing in a real world with everything is its real size as a picnic. And so there's a bunch of vegetable characters that are interacting with dairy products on a picnic blanket. And I did this very bad, loose, sloppy sketch just to get the idea, to see if we're on the right page. And they're like, nah, it's a little bit cold feeling, but we get it. Refine this more, make it more warm and refine it. So I leaned the color this way, so it's a little bit warmer. And now we started to figure out what is going to go in here. We like this idea. We like real trees and a real picnic blanket with characters. So now I refined it like this. All right, here's some characters that are pouring milk, and little blueberries are jumping into a bowl of cereal. And there's a broccoli character playing with butter. Some carrots sitting in a tub of sour cream like it's a hot tub. Like, that's good, but let's change some things. So they had some ideas. They're like, what if the carrots are dipping the celery into the sour cream? That'd be funny. Oh, wait. Does that mean they're going to eat them? That's cannibalism. Let's stay away from cannibalism. That's just kind of weird. We don't want anything that's going to offend people or scare people. So let's make it a little bit wider, and let's have some yogurt over here. No, not this kind of yogurt. Let's make it into more of a parfait type of yogurt. And they kept, coming up with ideas, and we would go back and forth. Concept design. This is what it's all about, is kind of pushing, playing, pulling, and until we find the exact, this is what we want. This is every character where it needs to be. And from there, I built it in 3D and, so we can have it high resolution and, worked out all the details until we got to the final illustration. And this is why it's super important to get through this. Again, this project was maybe 2 weeks long, so it had to be fast. It had to be very clear. So the reason why I want to work in loose sketches is very fast for iterations. I can make changes in 15, 20 minutes, an hour, maybe 2 hours at most, and get it back to the client. It's not technical. I don't have to worry about settings of 3D and moving things around where it's really difficult to model things or slow. So it's not technical. It's all just one simple skill of just sketching. It also it's holistic, meaning it's the entire project. What is it that you're going to see? These were all illustration projects, so they are from one camera angle, but what idea are we trying to sell in this one image? This also works when you're working in games or for feature films where you want to be able to see an idea of an environment or a location or a story beat, and you want one simple sketch that tells a bigger picture. It's also very client intensive, which means often when doing concept design, you are helping the client to figure out what they want. I have never met a client who knew exactly what they wanted on their first try. That's why they hire an artist to come in to help them. So you have to be the imagination along with them, not for them, along with them, to help them extract what they really want. What is the story you're trying to tell, and how do you make a concrete, doable visual that matches that? There's my talk on quick pre-production and why you have to be fast. Learning to be fast and being okay with sloppy art is okay for concept design. So let's come back to the trivia at the beginning. Thinking about loose sketches. How many storyboards, those loose sketches that look like this, are made for each film? And I love to ask students this because they go, maybe 500, maybe 2,000, when the actual answer is 120,000 storyboards that are handmade for each film. And to me, this is one of the things that makes Pixar so successful, is not that the people there are smarter. It's not that there's some sort of magic, thing that happens there that makes their film so successful. I think it comes down to they take the time to do pre-production. They take the time to do lots and lots and lots of early, loose sketches to find the story and then go, is this good enough? Can we make it even better? Do some new sketches. Can we make it even better? Do some more sketches. And so that to me is why they're so successful, because they will take the storyboards, put together the entire film before we ever do anything in 3D, before we have a whole big team, and we'll be able to see the entire film 3 years before it's released and watch it, critique it, change the order, make new storyboards, watch it, keep changing it, moving it around until you get to the final product. And I think that's why they're so successful. So that is my video of the week for you, is just a little insight into stories from production and why sloppy sketches are necessary. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate all of you, and until next time, keep creating.